Depressed Nusagi, the absolute state of Hololive. I know that they're financially doing kind of not so well, and like there have been some problems with investors. That's pretty much what I know. We'll see what's going on here. Hold on. No!
I'm sorry. I'll be graduating from Hololive on January.
That's Fauna. It's a character, a deer, that's pretty. It's Fauna. My heart hurts.
3rd, 2025. The reason for my graduation disagreement with management. I'm not leaving because I don't want to be here, and I'm not leaving because I don't want to be an idol. 配信活動終了し
Damn, all the members are dropping like flies. Yeah. But the original girls of Hololive, yeah, and they're still standing tall as tall as ever.
1月末頃に卒業することを決めました。
I've been ignored for 20 days straight. I don't expect anything. I just want an explanation as
Who would be ignoring Crony? Nobody would.
to why they're canceled. And you can't even give me that?
The lack of support that we get from this company is insane. That's what I've been dealing with this whole entire year, these past 2.5 years.
See, it's still wild how well Face Connect is doing. That is crazy. It is still crazy to me how a fish man found the most crazy women ever and said, "Mine, yes, we're turning you into a VTuber."
Some months ago, I said that the only real criticism many people had for Hololive was criticisms that was found in all VTuber agencies. Restrictions as to how a talent can create content, the anti-male culture, the trends that a lot of people have when it comes to their—
I mean, the anti-male... Is it really you can't... Anti would be like, I don't like men. I think... I wouldn't say it's anti-male culture. It's just that men do not attract that as many viewers. Most men are not Vox Akuma. Niji Sanji is more like a weird outlier. Reminds me of Coco. Yeah, Kiria Coco. Yeah.
Hiroshis as if they're beyond criticism and almost worshipping them to a certain extent. I, unfortunately, have to report that within a couple months after that video has been made, things have changed. 2024 was a bad year for VTuber fans. Unless you're a VShoujo guy or a V4 Mirai guy, it kept everyone at its toes, and almost all VTubers and VTuber agencies experienced some sort of loss. And what an unusual amount of departures that seemed innocent and reasonable for Hololive eventually started to become consistently suspicious.
Yeah, I once again think this has a lot to do with investors and management and stuff like that.
Eyebrow raising. First, the termination of Yozora Mel, an OG member of Hololive that was let go due to breaking contract. She seemed apologetic on her PL, so most people assumed that it was actually something that she may have done as a mistake, that Cover had no choice but to pull the trigger to make the rule enforcement within the company consistent. Second, the graduation of A-chan, another OG member of Hololive that was technically staff but was just as loved as a normal Hololive talent. She's been known to take care of her sick family members, so it's been presumed that she had to take off of her work to do that instead, as well as pursue endeavors.
It's like, imagine being like loved by fans even if you're just a staff member. That is crazy. That is wild.
Beyond Hololive. Third, the termination of Gamma from Holostars. Nothing too specific, kinda similar to Yozora Mel where things are left vague but with a few negative presumptions. Fourth, the graduation of Minato Aqua, citing wanting to pursue other endeavors outside Hololive. A difference in direction, wanting to do something else, and that she even plans to do other stuff with Hololive members beyond her graduation. She had the biggest graduation stream in VTubing history as well.
Let's just round it up. 750k viewers is diabolical. That is almost... It is not double, but it's close to double what Coco had. That is crazy. And 237k. through Super Chat. That is diabolical. I'm almost 8-year VTuber, so happy I'm an indie. Yeah, but the problem also, there's also certain problems with being an indie. And that is that as an indie, you barely get the chance to, like, if you become a big indie, the problem becomes that you barely get any chance to get into, like, those big, like, thingies. Because, like, I've realized, when you look at, like, the big groups and all, they're all, or, like, events, it's mostly really just all corporate VTubers. And, like, once every while, there is an indie in there.
Well, fifth, the departure of Amelia Watson, one of the more well-known talents in the English industry, the innovator and trendsetter that popularized a lot of norms and culture that you know now. Although she isn't fully graduated and can interact, come back and make stuff with Hololive whenever she desires, even going as far as Cover Corp still making merch of her. Sixth, the graduation of Sakamata Chloe, the biggest of HoloX, citing creative differences as the reason, I suppose with the possibility of coming back. This was when the
Watson is doing well though, so that's alright. That's alright. I don't know if I would put that specifically on Hololive though. Maybe she really just wanted to get more innovative, and being at Hololive kind of stopped that. I don't know.
alarm bells started ringing with a lot of people. And then seventh, the graduation of Ceres Fauna, certified mommy of Hololive Promise, citing disagreements with management and that her not wanting to leave or to be an idol was not the reason she's leaving, implying that she didn't want to leave, but in her circumstances had to. These are worrying implications for Hololive. Hololive has an average of 1 to 3 graduations a year, so that number doubling and tripling in 1 year, a year where the CEO promised a change in direction where Cover Corp was going, is a little concerning. A year where so many talents have expressed...
Like I said, I'm gonna straight up say it. Investors. I've also heard, like, BlackRock, like, getting into having some stock. I could be wrong. Not that that would have much influence, because they're really just in everything. No more ground pound, I'm sad. True.
Grievances against management. Where did it start? Where did it go wrong? Well, allow this video to attempt to unravel this mystery. I didn't think I'd be able to make this video, at least not this year, not until some real fuck-ups were happening. This year reminded me of how bad 2020 was in terms of audience morale and reception, so I think this is the perfect time to do so. Boys and girls, we are talking about Hololive. I don't think I need to repeat.
Though I'm gonna straight up say it, the whole Kiryu Coco situation, I'll be completely honest, I think Hololive should have backed her up more. I'm gonna be straight up honest.
To you the entire history of this company, as it's a tale told many times. It's a saga of inspiration and huge up and downs. They're not a perfect company, but they've always been the golden example of what it's like to actually manage a corporation and maintain a cult following, a culture loved by all. As they are one of the biggest titans of the industry, with each talent being a superstar in their own right, they had expectations to fulfill, responsibilities and obligations to respond to. They were looked up as the golden standard, and whether they liked it or not, if they were to remain on top, they had to appear and operate as the golden standard. But like I said, they're not a perfect company. Their fuck-ups are documented thoroughly in this industry. But they seem to grow, learn from their mistakes, and to make sure to grow their audience and bottom line, and I do believe that. However, as a company develops, so does many aspects of itself, both the wanted and the unwanted. Where there is smoke, there is fire. And the smoke in this case is the unusual number of departures. You see, since the conception of Hololive, there has always been an average of 1 to 3 departures, which includes graduations and terminations. In 2018, Hitomi Chris. 2019, none.
Well, 2019 seemed to be pretty good here. Yeah, but they're with a Chinese company. Yeah, true. I think Valkyria might have also just been safer. I don't know.
2020, Mano Aloe from Hololive 4th Gen, Kagami Kira, Yakushiji Suzaku and Tsukishita Kaoru from Holostars, and all of Hololive China, but Hololive China doesn't count. 2021.
Yeah, that doesn't count because that is a special box. That's a special can of worms. What happened there?
Coco. 2022, Ura Harusha from Hololive's 3rd gen, as well as Tsukumo Sana from Holo EN. 2023, Magni and Vesper from Holostars EN. And 2024, of course, was the 7 that I just listed down. As you can see, aside from 2020, which had an understandable and very justified reason to release all of Hololive China, 2024 was an especially bad year. One would argue that it is just a time where the old guards of VTubing would go and pursue their own endeavors, and while that is a good and reasonable factor, I believe that's not all of it. Because this is also a year that a lot of talents in general have expressed their grievances against management. Grievances that has been made for a while now but that doesn't seem to have changed or acted upon. Hololive talents have expressed sentiments of Hololive changing, and while these change are not necessarily bad or even specific, that they might further the goals of the company, I do believe it results into a lot of the burnout and graduations that we've seen.
ね、なんかでもさ、ホロライブ激務問題あると思うんだけどさ、で、講習受けて
This is the only Japanese Hololive VTuber that I know. And I only know her because people are lusting over her. That's the only reason I know her.
1時間の間に12件溜まってたことがあって、これはこの件はこの何日でいいですかとか、このイラストとかこういう感じですけどなんかありますかみたいな。あ、オッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーってとこあるんだけどオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケーオッケー世を忍ぶ仮の姿で働いてたんだけど、普通にその時はもうめっちゃ楽だった。もう月のほとんどスタジオに行ったり、スタジオじゃないところにお仕事でいろんな
Working in other locations for jobs that aren't streaming
と
related.
ころに行ったり、その配信じゃなくて配信に
There's so much non-streaming work. Interesting. So there's a lot of work that does not involve streaming, but what would that even entail? Like, what would that mean or be?
以外のお仕事がめっちゃ多いわけよ。でもそれって我が輩がやりたくてやってんだけどね。お仕事終わらない、寝れない。
Work doesn't end, can't sleep, have to stream to sleep. Yeah. Sounds like coal mines here.
配信しなくちゃ寝れない。生活習慣終わり、体の抗体
My lifestyle's ruined, my immune system is weak. Oh god. You're brave enough to say that out loud? I don't know about that one.
がカス。仕事以外で回らない。
You're just going from one thing to the next with no time for anything else. Holo workaholic? They have to do manual labor? Apparently so.
ないぜ。レッスンもあるし、収録もあるし、仕事もあるし。
Lessons, recordings, work, streams. So that stuff does not only entail streaming. I mean, recordings make sense, right? Because, like, for some events, you plan, like, stuff, maybe you release music, who knows? That makes sense, right? Lessons? What does lessons entail?
配信もあるし、うわーみたいになることがある、マジで。うん。まあでもね、お仕事受ける受けないは、もう
So, one reason as to why all these graduations could be happening is being overworked?
Especially when these talents have other things they want to do, but are then told to do other things that are mandatory. Sometimes, the things they may want to do may not even be allowed. So if you have the talents that wants to do something but they're not allowed to do it, but they're obligated to do this one other thing that they don't want to do instead, you can see where the creative differences come from. You can see how these can end up in a disaster. It's incompatible, and again, nothing wrong with that, especially those that joined Hololive wanting to be an idol or something along those profession. Other people, however, may not want to do that.
I mean, that obviously comes with that, right? That obviously comes with that. Huh. Interesting. Interesting.
And suffer as a result. Some talents just want to stream. Some talents ability and need It may not just be these obligatory activities, the bureaucracy, the restrictions, the way how certain projects can take up to a year because of all these perms and the stuff that they have to do, and all these necessary but often inconvenient and annoying things. It can weigh on people. There's a clip by Randon, an orc VTuber, wink 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 wink, where he says that the reason why VTubers go on hiatuses, at least a big reason, is that they often feel mentally worn down when their managers shoot down things they want to do.
True, that would frustrate me as. That's why I would never want to be like. That's why I would never join like a VTuber company. I would like that. Like I want to do this. Let's say I want to like make music. Let's say I would like want to explore music, right? And like suddenly I can't do that, or I want to try like I heard that a big problem was in a lot of like VTuber agencies is like getting a 3D model set up. I heard that was a big problem also for Hololive. Yeah, singing, probably dancing, yeah, maybe just regular videos, who knows. That's so sad, working to the point where your health goes down. Poke, you should take it easy too. Yeah, I'm in that department. Certainly am. Certainly am. I certainly am working in that department.
In his words, a non-creative telling a creative how to be creative. And to the people that knows, there is reason to believe that he speaks from experience. Speaking this for a lot of people who cannot speak it. And I think this problem is more so a core problem that Hololive has. They're very notorious for having these sorts of things. Slow perms with acquisition, and a lot of general inflexibility. But it's not without good reason. 2019 and 2020 was a flexible, more free Hololive.
Damn, these models are going, somewhat crazy, I have to say. These models are going wild. That's a bit... Whoops!
That was able to do what they want, without the suppressing gaze of the public, of sponsors and companies and shareholders. They were able to do things that they wanted to do for fun, until they weren't. Bikini and lewd stuff started to get flagged, ASMRs started to get punished, names got an entire country blacklisting them. Game companies started shooting them down that almost resulted into talents quitting and half their content being thrown to the void. What I'm trying to say is that Hololive went through a lot of growing pains and just wants to avoid those that caused these pains. So because of these, talents, especially the big ones, have attained a massive following from their agency, and that agency's goals and theirs have become incompatible. What is stopping these talents from leaving and taking their fan base with them, especially right now?
I really just think I really just think a major problem here is like, obviously YouTube does have its hand in this as well, considering that, again, they think that making noises with your mouth or whispering is sexual. I don't know how that works. At this point, I'm questioning if YouTube has ever seen actual corn. I don't know. It's interesting. The contract, yep.
See, this year, Hololive members have been experiencing a lot of hiccups as a result of either a work or managerial oopsies or due to a lot of the changes happening, like I said. And some of these issues weren't new. Some of them inherent in Hololive, recurring or always has been there. Some of these manifested in ways such as Project Hope being canned, Omega Alpha being fridged and having wasted such a good model, which I am super salty for, by the way.
Yeah, the model for this one is crazy. Like, the model for this one is actually crazy. Not gonna lie. Like, that model, just look it up, it is actually, that is a good model. They can't pay the fine of canceling the contract, probably. Yeah.
Gura not streaming for entire months because of burnout and a lot of projects being put in the back burner or are delayed. Kiara has also expressed her concerns about her 3D and birthday events not being passed through, like Bae having panic attacks on stream and being super stressed about things that just came her way after she ended stream. At this point, presumably due to Hololive stuff. Could be wrong, but it is consistent with what a lot of the girls were talking about. Crony complaining that her requests for perms gets ignored. She has aired her frustrations against management as well. Ina being not able to stream or even tweet because management messed up a visa, presumably supposed to be a work visa. But because that has been screwed over, and that streaming or tweeting on the Ina account would be considered work,
What? Like, and then Ina can't do anything. Like, she can't do anything. She can't tweet. Technically, she can't tweet. She can't upload. She can't stream. That all falls on the work. You gotta be stupid to mess that up. Would they also get called out for taking down core of Hololive members? I mean, that's still somewhat understand. I would say that's more understandable than for example, stuff like that. I don't consider that like a massive big issue. Glad to hear it for you both. Nice, good.
She won't be able to do so for a while. And while Cover Corp did try to be transparent and did address this, the fact that it still has happened is interesting. Pecora has also been a little more vocal on the changes in management too, and that while Marine says it's to protect them, that Hololive feels sometimes suffocating. Honestly, this one comment on the official Hololive subreddit
Okay. Bay, overworked to the point of panic attack due to homework and deadlines. Fauna cites disagreements with management, graduates. Aqua disagrees with company direction, graduates. Crony actively contemptuous of past management, regularly complains about management's poor communication. Gura goes MIA because she's burned out with vague behind-the-scenes issues, as passion project sidelined. Oh, poor short girl. Ina shelved for over a month due to managerial incompetence, expressed frustration even before that. Like, how you screw up someone's visa? How do you screw up somebody's work visa? Somebody that works for you, that can't work for you without that can't make money for you without the visa. Like, what went wrong? Laplace, openly critical of management and the new direction. I'm telling you right now, this has 100% to do with investors. 100%. Pecora lamented the new changes, openly states her manager advises her to simply coast while focusing on other projects instead of streaming like she wants to do. Chloe cites it's all management, huh? Managerial issues? Graduates. Mori, as recently as a few months ago, has been management screwing her over. I also know that Mori is like, I don't know how she does it. That woman has to be so overworked, it is crazy. Iris, actively ignored and neglected by her manager for the longest time until she finally received a bit of attention. Poor Iris. This is diabolical.
Summarize it all, and I think we have to admit that it makes a lot of sense.
There's likely more. I'm forgetting how much on infallible problem. Yeah, the problem is at this point something is clearly wrong. We exploit you, poor management communication, pretty much. Like, this is... Yeah, I could see it. The problem is, once again, I don't know, it probably is slightly out of control here.
However, the one issue that really opened my eyes to this whole thing is from Holostar's EN member, Regis, who has this to say about management.
Wasted 4 months of my time, this company. So, thanks for being here and boosting my mood, guys. It's unbelievable how much better I can do stuff myself. It was my Rococo coil.
So he's now indie, I would assume? Yeah. That means... Imagine, like, working 4 months under a company for quite literally nothing. That would infuriate me. This is sad. You join an agency for better management, they mistreat you. That's why, like, the problem is also that, okay, some people, obviously, they know this, so they wouldn't join. But there's people, again, we've seen it with a new generation for Niji Sanji, where they join, even though they should be fully aware what's even going on with the company. Blue guy sounds good. I'm not even gonna comment on that anymore.
the company was gonna send it over. Then it wasn't working, quote unquote. It wasn't working back in July. They said, okay, you know, we're gonna try to fix it and we'll get back to you. Sure, okay, sure. I wait 4 months. All right, taking too long. What's happening? Oh, they're still working on it. Okay, send it over, I'll do it myself. I'll fix it myself. They send it over, I do all the custom stuff. I'd spend 1 hour troubleshooting, and it works. And guess what? The kicker is, there was a nice layer of dust on the top, which means they didn't even touch it.
This is interesting. Regis is normally one of the chiller dudes that I've seen, at least from the outside looking in. He's been silent, patient, considerate in a lot of situations. He's been a little negative as of late, but him saying this, it opens and alludes to so many issues. And Axel comes out to talk about it a little, saying that he signed up for this work, that he has his own disappointments and frustrations, and that the fan base's voice is important. Light a fire under management's ass and get them to change, a sort of soft confirmation that yeah, things aren't sunshine and rainbows, but that he's fine. Haka would even echo the same sentiment about how grateful he is that the fan base is voicing out their frustrations.
And also, thank you guys. Seriously. Thank you. Your voice is heard. Your voice matters. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you. Thank you so much for not only caring about the boys, thank you so much for also caring about my senpais. You guys have no idea how I appreciate that. And I know how hard you guys fight.
This is crazy, you know why? Because the viewers, the community has to attempt to fix it. That is so stupid. That shouldn't even be a thing. This is crazy.
Thank you for using the proper channels to, you know, communicate things. Thank you so much for doing that. Like, seriously. I know one day our voices together will be loud enough for, you know, things to make a difference. For things to be heard. So thank you so much for caring. That's literally all I can say. Seriously. Like, no joke. It means a lot.
I mean, you know, like, I signed up to do those stuff, so, like, finally being able to do stuff like that, well, I can only really do it while I'm over here in Japan, but being able to do those stuff is definitely, like, a blessing, and the only reason why I can do it is because, you know, you guys are here, like, supporting us, so... Listen, I'm gonna be dead honest with you, I don't exactly know the fucking current situation, like, of how management is trying to plan go forwards and stuff, because that's stuff usually only management really knows, right? Well, I don't know how busy it is in the studio and stuff, so I don't know, but what I can say is that what you guys have been posting on Twitter and all that, we do definitely hear your voice, but like, I just don't know if there's anything that I can do personally for you guys. Like, one other thing I really hate doing is like giving you guys like false hope is what I...
But that's usually how it is, right? Like, the viewers and the creators, right? Like, they barely have any power. The only way the only thing you could technically do is quit. But you usually have no alternative. Because remember, once you are in such a company, you can't really run anything on the side. That's usually the problem. Because remember, the model is owned by these... I don't know if Hololive handles it like that, but I think they do so. That, like, your model is not your own. It's not yours. Same goes for, like, stuff like Niji Sanji. It is not yours. So you can't really pull out. They won't do anything unless the community takes matters in their own hands. But even then, they don't do anything because money talks. So, and the thing, like, it's like a the blade cuts both ways. Because let's say the community actually like revolts, for example, wouldn't no longer watch. This hurts the streamers. So what do you do? That's the problem. What do you do? Except, like, voice your opinion. You can't really do anything.
Hey, I don't want to be like, oh, like, next year for sure, I'm pretty sure there's going to be something like this, and then not being able to do it, because, like, that stuff has happened to myself personally, you know, working here as well, being like, oh, you know, I'm pretty sure it will happen next year, don't worry. So I was like, okay, well, I'll look forward to it, and then it just doesn't happen. And I feel crushed when that shit happened. I was like, what? Come on, I was promised this, and then I don't even, like... When that shit happens, like, you want to complain about it more, right? Yeah, so everyone has, like, you know, frustrations of whatever shape it may be, but, like, what you guys are doing is, I feel like, is good and correct. Just, you know, voicing out your, like, frustrations, and... I mean, you know, like... I could voice a bunch of things, but let's just say, okay, I'm gonna threaten cover to do this, because if they don't, I'm gonna be, like... You know, don't do any of that shit, like... That's just childish.
Is Holostars not being given proper support because they don't make much money comparative to the girls?
I think I know that from somewhere. Any color? Anybody? That gives me the energy, you know? The more money you make, the more support you get. Which technically makes sense, but technically also not, because, like... How are you supposed to grow if you can't do things because you don't have the money? It's like a doom circle. Like you can't improve if you don't have the resources to improve.
How long has this been happening? Would this be a factor into Magni and Vesper's graduation? All of this to say that, yeah, Holostars seem like they have their own issues, but he speaks for himself. Regis and others who had problems with the company speak for themselves, for there are people still mentioned in that comment thread that actually came in to defend Cover Corp. Shiori and Kiara has stated that the company doesn't really force them to do anything they don't want to do, especially idol activities. Bae said that despite all of it, she still wants to be here. Crony says something similar, all these sorts of things.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are kind of feeling uneasy at the moment. I really do mean it when I say that, you know, things will be okay. I said it on Twitter, and I personally don't believe the company is heading towards like a negative direction. And yeah, like I saw some people who wanted to hear my thoughts about it, since, you know, I would mention like, you know, some frustrations with management here and there. But the thing is, like, those concerns were only brought up because they're not really that big of a deal, since if things were actually problematic, I wouldn't be bringing it up on stream.
Yeah, which makes sense. That makes sense. If things were actually problematic, you wouldn't say them, because you literally can't say them, probably, I would assume. That's logical, right? They'll push the most successful people first. It's sad, but it does make sense. Yeah, of course it makes sense. First and foremost, you're money oriented as a company. That makes sense, yeah.
And if things got really bad to that point, I don't think I would be here. Like, I have my disagreements here and there, but regardless of what's happened, I'm pretty happy to be here. Like, there's still things I want to do and show you guys, but I don't think I'll be leaving soon.
Suisei even came out to defend Cover Corp from all the overworking allegations.
に専念できなくて辛いんじゃないかみたいな。だから配信に専念する人は配信に専念させて、アイドルやりたい人はアイドルやってみたいな。
The thing is, like, the problem is, like, when the talent say it, right? You never know. Were the talents told to say that? That is always the question you must ask yourself. Like, is it the talent defending Cover Corp out of their own free will or not? And you will never know this. That's the problem. You can only go by trust me, bro.
で、それに関してなんだけど、じゃあ推しに言うてみればみたいな。もうライブなんかしなくていいんだよ。もう歌って踊る姿よりも配信してる姿の方が見たい。元気に過ごしてって言うてみればみたいな。っていうのすごい思ってて。なんで勝手にそのさ、推しが歌って踊ってを従ってないみたいな風に思うんだろうって思って、なんかそれにムカついてたの。みんなさ、やりたくてやってんだよ。
Aside from Suisei's response, a few people in their membership streams assured fans that it's okay, sort of saying that a lot of the things Chloe or Fauna implied or felt didn't really apply to them, like the overwork or being made to do idol work. Perhaps again, it was an issue that was unique to Chloe and Fauna or their circumstances, but the message that came from the Japanese talents and what this change means for the company are so vague that really nobody outside Hololive knows what it's all about, as well as what the responsibilities and policies that the members are graduating and plan to graduate disagree with. And this vagueness is the point. So we don't and won't know what is happening, so that nothing is ever confirmed good or bad. We as an audience will never truly know what is changing in Hololive.
True, like that goes for everything. We can't just theorize what's happening. Except if somebody maybe leaks information, but who would leak information?
And we will never know the real reason that these disagreements in the company can mean, as well as why the VTubers are leaving. We have no choice but to put up with it. That makes people restless. That's where people start asking talents questions and forming speculations based on what the crumbs that they're given. Overwork, forced to do things, lack of agency. And it just doesn't make people restless, it also makes people defensive. Unless you're a 4chaner, there's this strange culture in Hololive where you're not allowed to criticize management, a talent, or voice concerns, lest the fandom fuck you up unless the criticism comes from the talent. A lot of people believe that any mistakes management makes are all understandable, or that it's nobody's fault because of circumstantial issues such as them going public, or that investors demands it, or scheduling, or again because they've been burnt in the past and they'd rather not get burnt again. But I feel like these reasons shouldn't be an excuse to a lot of these mistakes. It shouldn't be this blasphemous thing if we criticize Hololive or their management. Even if the talents, the female ones at least, say that they're happy with management, we can't ignore exactly the implications of Regis saying that he hasn't been receiving good company support for the past 2 years that he's been there. So I think despite the defenses the girls gave, the concerns are well-founded. Even if it's a concern that's exclusive on the Holostars side, perhaps it is. Of course, this does not apply to all managers in any corporation. Individual managers for the girls could be welcoming and good and actually does their job.
True, it could also just be like certain managers pulling off bullshit. Like, we don't know that. That's why it's all vague. Like, though the problem is, if everything's so vague, would you really want, like... With, like, all theories about your company, do you want as the person running it to... it become too big or too much? And not just help make it, like, disprove it? I always question that.
But some staff members with certain responsibilities and tasks may just be really bad at their job. Maybe the staff at Holostars isn't as good as the staff in Hololive for whatever reason. Whatever the case, it's not gone unnoticed. And with the announcements of the departure of Chloe and Fauna, it wasn't just the English fanbase that took notice, but the Japanese fanbase as well. 2024 came at a time where people, now in droves, actually started to question what is really going on in Hololive. Because while this is normally normal, while people in employment come and go in a company, this is the first time it happened. In the context of Hololive and its culture, it's not normal. Hololive just does not lose 7 members.
True. Like, it's out of the ordinary. You know, it's out of the ordinary.
In 1 year. The CEO mentioned that Cover Corp was forced to go public, or that he'd have to sell the company a while back, and I think that provides some insight as to how things ended up the way they are. How they can plan for these big and grand events, how they can get exclusive and hard to reach opportunities that they weren't able to. Hololive, I don't think would have been able to say, make official expansion plans to the west, or have Suisei fulfill her dream of performing at Budokan alone, or literally nab AKB48 girls. So no matter how we look at it, despite people complaining about it, Cover Corp, or even Niji, becoming public wasn't just inevitable, but necessary. And as a result, they have to ensure that these investors are happy, and often, that means restrictions and a whole lot of bureaucracy than what was already normal in Japanese companies. Yago says the direction of the company is one that wants to diversify their means of income and make talents fit a niche and make each individual IP bigger. Of course, while we don't actually know what's currently going on in Hololive, one cannot help but notice these problems and how to help it, especially for a multi-million-dollar company, which is to be flexible in the right ways. Sure, you have investors and shareholders you want to make happy. Sure, it may not be as easy as it sounds, but you gotta try, right? Because when you're a Hololive member, money is not going to be everything. And while I don't think a lot of Hololive members are just going to straight up leave, I do think it's a problem that a lot of them are saying creative differences all around at the same time. And at the face of all this backlash, Iago acknowledged the criticisms around him. Around January, he comes out again to acknowledge that Cover Corp's recent
interesting. So it is at least acknowledged. The problem is, all along, investors. The thing is, like, was it necessary probably for the companies to survive? Yes. Or was it? That's the question. Maybe it was. Assuming it was. Why are investors so interested in running it into the ground?
Mistakes are the result of their rapid expansion, apologizing to fans, and that they are trying their damnedest to fix whatever problems may occur. It's not all doom and gloom, however, for you see, this isn't the first time Cover Corp has fucked up to this extent. I was one of the more vocal critics of the company back in 2020 and 2021 during the peak of the Kryokoko saga. I survived and participated in that shitfest, and I still will do now. And the one thing that I've noticed throughout all this time was that Cover Corp did learn from their mistakes. Cover Corp fucks up a lot and will continue to fuck up. They're actually a little more trained PR-wise and is willing to eat their mistakes when they see it, but I do think that's one of the good traits that they have when it comes to fucking up. I just hope that they actually learn the right lessons this time and become a little bit more flexible. Because change means growth or failure. If you are somewhere or someone that refuses to change, you cannot grow. Changing is a risk that comes with not just business but anything in life. And those that decide to remain with Cover Corp have to take those risks, as well as those that are new and that join them. And who are we to tell them what's good for them?
Well, sometimes one may not see what's good for them because they're so blinded. You know, the saying, protect others from themselves, still works. We will never know what's actually going on. But it's certain to assume that they're not going to go the Niji route. That's unlikely.
I do think that a lot of the backlash and the concern Andying and the heat that Cover Corp is tanking is deserved. You can't make mistakes anywhere without facing any sort of repercussions after all. And again, they do have a track record of actually improving, so I think I'll stay with them a while. At least until Ina, Pecora, or Suisei graduates. If they go, I go, my guy. People
that's gonna be me and for Kiara. She graduates, I'm going.
Come and go, especially if they were a legacy talent, especially in individual circumstances unique to each talent. It's not just because Hololive is overworking people or that the company is publicly traded. It's not just because people are forced to do things they don't want to do. Hololive is changing, and that comes with its own anxieties and differences, and we will never really know what it means. Eventually, there will be more talents going out the door and will be saying a lot of negative experiences that they have with Hololive and Cover. There will be more hard-hitting graduations, and you have to prepare for that. It's gonna come soon. There will be times where your will to support this company may be tested. I made a video a couple weeks ago titled Why VTubers Leave Their Agencies, and I think it summarizes the answer. It's reasons like goal incompatibility, which would include them being obligated to do things they don't want to do or not getting enough support.
Almost being pushed into the sewer slide? Yep.
Support on things that they want to do. I also mentioned that they may still want to tolerate all of that regardless because they may be afraid to leave their comfort zones, or that this is all they have, or that they like the company in general. But the one thing I wanted to point out in that video that I will now is that what does it all mean for the fan base of the agency that is being left? Because the old guards, the legacy talents, some of them have been doing VTubing for a major part of their lives and may want to do something else, something new. Because when a company changes and the legacy talents are no longer interested in working with them, they as an agency have at the very least have to do something. And one of the things that they are going to have to go about it is to build a new generation of talents whose goals are compatible with the current state of the agency. Though the problem with that, at least short term, is that these talents would have to show the same promise, develop their own stories like the old talents did, which is harder and takes a lot more toll on the new.
It's harder because it's gonna be harder because the market is oversaturated. For example, why should I watch a new Hololive talent if, for example, an indie VTuber shares similar characteristics, or somebody else who's been longer here has in some other company has similar characteristics? It's always like people already have, unless that favorite VTuber graduates, people already have their favorites. So how are you going to make it so that, what's the word, you pull those people onto your side and like you convert them? You know, the VTuber conversion therapy, that's difficult to do.
New talents, and it also is asking for a lot from the old fans who liked the classic version of what the company used to be. On the fan side, I think if you love the culture of Hololive, hoping that the new talents will keep the legacy of the old ones alive is a beautiful thing. I don't mean for this to be some sort of passing of the torch, philosophical new generation sort of thing, but it is. The new talents will have their own stories, and we will journey with them as it develops, just like we did our old Oshis. Perhaps along the way, we will rediscover what made us love our old Oshis. Perhaps along the way, we'll even find a new way to love new VTubing. This is the beauty of being
standing out. That's the problem, though. I'm gonna quote, who was it? Something with M, I forgot it. Midas here. The VTubing niche, genre, whatever you want to call it, space is incestuous. That means that VTubers only want to attract other VTuber fans. That does not work. It doesn't. Like, that goes also for corpos. That's the same issue. Like, you can see, like, with each generation that they have less viewers, or with each new edition they have less viewers. It's like, I don't know.
a corpo fan, the culture and community, despite its ups and downs, this is a sort of culture unique to VTubing. I want to tell you that your Oshis would have liked to be part of it, and fortunately they are. They made the culture and the community that you love the way they are and paved the way for the new ones to continue. Whether or not you love the old guards and you don't want to follow the new ones, that's okay. Because what mattered is that you loved Hololive. You had memories. The new Hololive will make for new fans. Perhaps you're now too scared to start supporting one member after losing so many. But you're always welcome to come back.
Axel is right. As Hololive changes, all we can really do as a fan base, should we wish to support it still, is to air our grievances and frustrations against the company. Let them know that we aren't happy. Let them know to treat the talents better. And as time eventually passes, so too will our grievances as they are addressed. Or they will get worse and see another crushing graduation, I don't know. Iago's got Gura locked in a contract and she'll be doing this till she's fucking 90, people. Believe it.
Yeah. Or you do it like it's some other person that's just chill on your yacht. That also works.
Fauna's graduation is now over. She's gone, and a lot of the anger a lot of people had against Cover more so turned to general concern and sadness after the rage had subsided.
It has been an incredible 3.5 years, and I owe it to all the amazing—
Stop! I mean, she's still there. But not as Fauna. But stop. Stop catering to my emotional side.
People around me. You, the saplings, are the best community I ever could have asked for. Because of you, every stream I do is fun. It's an amazing feeling to be able to go live and know that I have such a wonderful audience waiting for me, ready to listen to my tangents, banter with me, and support me in whatever I choose to do. I am so lucky to have you. I think I could play a million hours of Skyrim with you guys laughing alongside me. I don't think I ever would have been able to.
This is the personal attack. Yeah, that was truly a sad day in VTubing. I remember when that all happened. It was all over Twitter. People were genuinely like depressed. I saw people who usually would stream that day not stream and all. I saw people like genuinely crying. That was crazy.
To meet so many talented people without Hololive. I am so lucky to be surrounded by such amazing singers, dancers, streamers, artists, and some of the kindest souls I know. It is truly special, not just to meet everyone here, but to perform on stage with them and to become friends. I can bet I'll be cheering my friends on in the audience from now on. I truly wish them the best. Hololive is full of amazing people who deserve
How long is this going on? This is at least still a minute.
so much love. My debut was rougher than I like to admit. I was dealing with imposter syndrome and had a hard time finding a place that felt like my own. I was surrounded by people who seemed to be on a different level, a level I felt like I could never reach. I've gained a lot of confidence since then, and even though I still think my friends are on an incredible, maybe unreachable level, I can be proud of what I've accomplished here. I've made memories I'll never forget and learned so much about the world and myself along the way. I'm glad Hololive was a place I could call home for so many years. I want to thank Asagi Mama for making me so beautiful, my promise and council ladies for always inspiring me,
Please, no more.
my senpai for allowing me to have gone on this journey, everyone in Hololive for being my friends and my muses, and the saplings for being the best community I ever could have hoped for. It's impossible not to be sad, but I'll be looking optimistically towards the future, and I know there's happiness to be found there. Take care, and fawn well. This is your gamer idol Kieran signing off. Thank you for everything.
I'm gonna cry. Real. We love you, Plat Woman. It sucks. Almost forgot. Have you played Evo Creo 2? Not yet. No. Is it out already? That's the end of the video. The memory's still fresh. The memory's still fresh. It hurts. Anyways, that's the end of the video. But still, man, that was a period of time. I swear, that was something. That was something. That was actually something.